8:25 this morning, which means it's time for this.
They're known for being cheats. They'll always be cheats. Amateur boxing stinks. From the core right to the top.
It's the most memorable Irish sporting moment of the decade, because we're at the end of the decade, we get to do this type of stuff. Last night, Shane Lowry absolutely pulverised Ireland versus the All Blacks in Chicago. What was the final score? Was it 80? Did he reach 80? 79% versus 21%. Instagram is slightly different, 62%. More rugby fans on Instagram, it turns out 62-38. But at Shane Lowry Golf, romping through to the quarterfinals with an emphatic win. We give you the opportunity to vote all day. We announce the winner every night on the radio show Off the Ball from around about 8:30, between 8:30 and 9. So Shane Lowry joins Shane Long. It's going to be Shane versus Shane. Some Shane on Shane action versus the O'Donovans in the quarterfinal. So it's the O'Donovans versus Shane Long in one side of the quarterfinals, and it's Shane Lowry versus Le Drop de Johnny Sexton, or the Irish hockey. Let's get a reminder of why the Irish women's hockey team have made the cut.
It's the opportunity to send the Green Army wild. Can she find a way past the Spanish keeper Luis in these 8 seconds? Pinder scored with her first shuttle. Pinder scored with her second. And Ireland are in the Hockey World Cup final. The second lowest ranked side in the competition. Rip up the form book once more and will play in the final match tomorrow afternoon.
On the line by Roisin Upton of the Irish women's hockey team through to the World Cup final. Roisin, congratulations. This is unbelievable.
You said it. We're all standing here looking at each other. We just can't believe it.
A World Cup final, is it just beyond your wildest dreams of what you've achieved at this tournament?
You know, we'd be lying if we said it wasn't. We came here with a goal to get out of our pool, and the quarter-final we felt could be within our reach. And since then, it's just been like targeting every match as if that was the World Cup final. So today was another World Cup final for us, and we came through. It's just been unbelievable.
Right, Le Drop, is it worth its place in our top 16?
Creeping closer to the point at which a drop goal becomes possible.
We're getting closer to drop goal territory. Oh my God, he's gone for it.
With the drop goal, Johnny Sexton to win it for Ireland.
It looks good.
Yes, it looks good. It looks good. He's got it. Johnny Sexton.
Oh my God, he's got it.
Has he done it? He has done it.
He has done it.
Johnny Sexton wins it. Oh, it's like carnival over again.
No, Gara, eat your hand. Let's see that.
41 phases of play, and Johnny Sexton wins it for Ireland with the last kick of the game. That is sensational.
Full pylon as well.
Totally required in that sort of moment. The swinging of the arms, Dave McIntyre saying it's spinning in relation to the ball, of course. It was just pure drama. Grand Slam doesn't happen without it. It's got real competitive meaning and real drama, and it's the French. Just all feels good.
Twickenham would have been better, but yeah, I'm happy with Paris.
We
never win in Paris. We started to win in Paris a little bit over the this millennium, but before that we never won in Paris. I think once, maybe in history, and so we should not take this for granted. The last time we won in Paris, it took like a slightly dodgy refereeing decision in the last minute for us to get it. But yeah, I mean, look, what the hockey team did was absolutely sensational in their sport. What that drop goal did was dig out an entire season.
And propelled an entire season towards its final point as well, which is kind of important. Like, we're winning there we go. Dave McIntyre. Like that's the one thing that this did result in silverware, whereas the Irish hockey team ended up losing a final, which is one of the reasons why John Sexton would probably win this battle. But then at the same time, there was an even more unexpected nature to the hockey run, and I mean unexpected in the way that Ireland were just there in a World Cup final, kind of out of the blue to the general public. Then also kind of how it kind of came out of nowhere in everybody's consciousness and in everybody's interest. I don't really think that this was a moment where people like often have in the Olympics, where they kind of watch it passively and are kind of only half invested in what's going on. I think just by the nature of the sport, people got to know the players.
You were pissed watching it. That's what happened. That completely. You were pissed in the sunshine in a beer garden, thinking my life is never going to get better than this moment. That's what happened to you, right? And there was a bunch of Kerry fans around you before a Munster Championship match, which you were going to win anyway, right?
So you
were like just basically out.
That was just a semi-final.
Yeah, but that's what your entire thing is based on here. The semi-final was like by far the best moment because they got hammered in the final.
Did you not go drinking for the day?
No, I didn't. We're at different stages of our lives.
I'll have you know that my day took a big downturn. That was the day Kerry got knocked out of the Super 8s last year. So.
Oh, was it Super 8s?
Yeah, it was. We beat Kildare actually that day.
Okay, so I mean, you knew you were going to win the match, and you were having the crack, basically.
Exactly. It was a bad day,
and yet
the hockey team saved the day. So that's
the hockey team. So you're using the hockey team as some kind of vicarious escape route from the pain of Kerry football. That was like the end of the Fitzmaurice era.
His last game.
The end of Star. Okay, so this definitely colours your whole kind of. The whole country was watching it. Well, you and your 15 mates from Kerry were in the pub watching it.
You think that the whole country wasn't watching that semi-final?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying your experience is not the universal experience.
No, it is. It definitely is. 100% is. I am the centre of the universe. Whatever I was doing, everybody in Ireland was doing.
I get that you're a millennial. It feels that way, but
if I was watching television that day, then 5.5 million people in Ireland were watching TV that day.
Yeah, 100% rating reach. 110% because people were actually they had it out on the RT player, watching it on replay 10 minutes later.
Yeah, smooth as you like.
Takes the buffer.
I don't know. I think my story of watching the hockey that day is actually quite an interesting one. It's not just getting pissed and watching sport. I think it's actually so. I don't think there was a fleeting interest in it. I think that there was kind of a lingering impact where people a couple of weeks ago when they qualified for the Olympics had some sort of familiarity with it. This team has actually become a thing now. Now, granted, it's kind of going to come and go. People are going to watch them playing in Holland or Germany or some of the people who played for their clubs abroad. But
no, but I think that when you, as an Irish team, win a bunch of penalty shootouts, we're like, okay, right, this is unusual. What have they got that we might be able to learn from here?
Well, yeah, definitely. That definitely added to it as well. There was penalty shootouts involved. But like as I say, the grand slam that comes after the drop goal is probably more significant. I just can't see Jonathan Sexton being beaten here. Sexton with that drop goal has a good chance of doing business. But I do think after
there's a few caveats, right? If you were making the case for the hockey against the drop goal, you would say that France team no good, not a good France team at all. And we put ourselves in that situation when we shouldn't have by allowing them to score a try the last couple of minutes of the game. Like essentially, we should have won that game. I'd say we might have been 8 to 10 point favourites heading into that game, and we should have won that game because we're a far superior outfit to them. So we put ourselves in this weird scenario. It's also only the first game of the competition. There's no guarantee that we're going to go on and win the Grand Slam after that. Like, you don't know that that's the winning of the Grand Slam. Retrospectively, you can say, well, you wouldn't have done the Grand Slam. Well, obviously, because we would have lost the game, therefore we wouldn't have had the opportunity to play for the Grand Slam.
Why are you putting on that voice?
Because it's the boring.
It's not
it's the boring argument that people make that are like, oh, factually we would not have been in running for a Grand Slam because if you want to win the Grand Slam, you must win the first game, the second game, the third game, the fourth game, and then the fifth game to complete the Grand Slam. Thanks, on.
You're like doing an impression of Richard's impression of me. Like that.
But I wasn't even trying to be you. You just assumed that it was.
That's true. What you said is true. Like,
exactly.
Just because you put on a boring voice doesn't diminish
it. Makes the boring point you're making.
No, it's not a boring point.
It is. It's very boring.
How is it boring?
Because I mean, who cares? Anyway,
you don't care about the Grand Slam.
Well, I don't care about the fact that like we now know we won the Grand Slam. Of course we do because we lived through it, right? The point is that you can't say that this is the winning of the Grand Slam. The winning of the Grand Slam was winning the game against England at the very end of it when we actually finally do it. There's been loads of times where we've had an opportunity to win stuff and we've coughed it up. You could make the point that wasn't the best moment. You could make the point that wasn't the best moment of that rugby season. Jacob Stockdale's chip through against the All Blacks when we win a game that everybody can finally go, well, at least the All Blacks, they weren't in the wrong country and they knew where they were coming. It's like, well, actually, they couldn't.
Is that the same boring voice? Is that also the same people who say that?
Yes, yeah, you. Not you, but you, your type.
Never made that argument.
Your people, you people.
And what was the end result of the beating the All Blacks then? What was the greater significance of the game in Dublin as opposed to winning a Grand Slam?
We were momentarily the best team in the world.
Well, there you go.
No, I mean,
we were literally the best team in Europe.
Yeah, voting is live anyway, so get the hockey crowd out early, vote often. Different IPs, obviously, is what we need. We're live on Twitter, twitter.com/offtheball. We're also live on Instagram. I suspect that hockey on Instagram is going to be big. That's my prediction.
Rugby on Instagram is big, as we already saw from the last one, so it's going to be a head-to-head battle. That
Rugby
might
was
get
big yesterday, but I suspect that the hockey will also be bigger today. Tommy's like, These two things can be true, Tommy. Tommy's putting on your boring voice going, but it's not. Rugby, you just said rugby was big on Instagram. How can hockey also be big? Ooh. I mean, you know, you can have a big rugby audience and a big hockey audience.
No, that just can't happen. It's not possible.
Right. Here's boxer Dennis Hogan talking about how his grandfather's death inspired him to become more dedicated to his boxing career. He faces WBC middleweight champion Jermall Charlo at Brooklyn's Barclays Centre on Saturday night with a chance to take over the belt. He was just in studio with us yesterday, so have a look.